The EduTech guys present a conversation from our live coverage of FETC in Orlando, Florida from Thursday, January 25th, 2018. Enjoy the program.
I'm Keven Rinaman. I am the Director of Technology at Calvert Catholic Schools in Tiffin, Ohio, small little town in northwestern part of Ohio there. Usually whenever we're describing where we are, it's kind of, well, we're an hour and a half from Cleveland, hour and a half from Columbus. Have you heard of Cedar Point? Well, that's 45 minutes away. So that's everybody judges Ohio based on where you are to Cedar Point. So I'm in a PK to 12 school. We have about 550 kids, 2 buildings. We're one-to-one with iPads for K to 6, and then 7 to 12 has MacBooks. And I did a workshop on Tuesday night on 3D printing in the classroom. Yeah. Had about, I think the final number was 41 people in the workshop.
Nice.
I was very happy with the number.
Especially pre-con, Tuesday nights kind of before everybody kind of starts getting in. It's a great time. That's the hardcore people that show up on Tuesday. So you got 41 on Tuesday. That's like 400.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the hardcore folks right there. They wanted to come.
Yeah,
awesome.
and that's exactly like the audience was. Sometimes I'll go and I'll do a presentation, and you don't get that feel. They're just sitting there. They're taking notes and they're taking everything in to go back to school with it, but you can't really gauge if they're digging what you're talking about. But the group I had down here, they were very active. They were getting hands-on and asking questions, and that's the most important part.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you covered in your session?
Well, I take it from the perspective of whether you have a 3D printer and just haven't figured out how to use it, or you're looking at getting a 3D printer. Okay. So we start with kind of going over that vocabulary that every good lesson has to start with, so you can understand what it is when you walk up to somebody and they're talking about rafts and supports and build plates and everything. So that can be a little intimidating. So we cover all that vocabulary, and then talk about a few different lessons that I've done with the students at Calvert Catholic Schools, and then we moved into doing a hands-on Tinkercad lesson so that they could actually do something with what they learned that night. And the folks over at MakerBot were fantastic, and they kind of helped me out in the room to be those extra hands when I had 40 people in there trying Tinkercad for the first time. So they went around there helping people with that, and then they actually let the first couple people that came to the booth with their print file, they printed it off for them while they're here. So those 4 or 5 people get to take home the print they made for my workshop. So that's pretty cool.
I
was pumped about
right
that.
That's really cool.
So give us an example of something that you've done with your students at your school.
My favorite one that I've done so far has been this Washington, D.C. lesson plan. Like a lot of schools in the country, our 8th graders go to Washington, D.C. every year. Oh. So I look at it and I go, wow, these kids are going to go down there and they're going to buy a hoodie for $70. It's going to last them for a couple months before they grow out of it, and it ends up being, it's not very memory making. So I came up with this idea last year let's use CoSpaces, and we're going to make virtual reality. So we got the kids in small groups and got the itinerary of the different monuments and landmarks they were going to go see. Okay. So the small groups had to do research. And, what is the point behind this? Where is it at? What does it look like? And they built that in CoSpaces virtual reality. And they did a voiceover to kind of explain it. And then we shared it with the class. But at the time, unfortunately, there's no way to export from CoSpaces to 3D printing. So we turned around and got the kids on Tinkercad, and they rebuilt their landmark, their monument, whatever it was, printed it off, and then shipped it on the bus with them down to D.C. So they stood in front of their monument, got their picture taken with a miniature version that they created themselves.
That's cool.
So that picture is like, that's a memory right there of something you made with your hands.
Yeah, that's really awesome right there.
It's not going to go away. So I like to make tangible things that kids can take home and be like, look, Mom, I'm learning, instead of the crumbled piece of paper in their book bag.
Yes, exactly. Like or the hoodie that's too small 6 months later.
With the mustard stain on it.
Yes, exactly. That's the hot dog I had from the guy down on the road, you know what I'm saying?
So the integration across grade levels, what are we looking at right there?
We're still relatively new to it. We've gone down as far as 3rd grade. It didn't work out the greatest. I'd like to go back and do it. Being a Catholic school, at Easter last year, we had the students take index cards, and they drew their own cross, and they made their own designs in it. And then I used an app to take a picture of it, turned it into a STL, a three-dimensional file, and print it off. But I got to go back and rework that lesson because the app I used last year doesn't exist anymore, and it didn't work that well to begin with. So it was
probably why it doesn't exist anymore.
Yes.
But you know, hey, there's always learning and failure, right?
Absolutely.
That's right.
First attempt in learning right there.
That's
hey,
right.
Hey, defines my life. But so yeah, it sounds like it's really taken off. A lot of kids getting really interested in that design element because of the 3D printing. You have a lot
I
of
mean,
kids.
one of them, going back to the CoSpaces virtual reality part, we had a student that, first time I used CoSpaces was with a social studies teacher again. I kind of, my background is as a social studies teacher originally before I got into the ed tech stuff heavily. And I've got one teacher that if I bring an idea up to her, she's like, get in here, let's make it happen. Yeah. So I love that openness. And they were studying the American Revolution, and she had 6 battles they had gone over. And it's like, okay, in CoSpaces, let's recreate that battle scene that you saw. So there was one student in particular, well, even if I back up a little bit before that, the engagement that I saw.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's those kids that if they're looking at the textbook, they might be bouncing around stuff. When I get in there and start doing this, every single kid was engaged in that lesson, and they were just focused. Their eyes were right ahead. It was something new, and they were, yet again, we go back to they were creating something, and they have that pride and ownership in a sense. So a student that would necessarily, if they're given you have to do a book report or something on the American Revolution, they might have only gotten a C, maybe a low B, if they put in their best work or whatever. But this student just took off with the virtual reality and put all of their effort into it, so that when it came time to share, I'm standing up there just grilling questions. And I'm like, why do you have snow on the ground? Well, this battle was in New York in December. So she was able to fire right back and explain everything there. So it was phenomenal to just see that, ability to have another avenue to show that, yes, you have learned the material that we're covering in class.
Yeah.
And I would venture learned more than and made more connections than she ever would have just reading it out of the text or pulling together traditional research in order to create a traditional report.
Yeah.
And it's those little things. It's it was in New York in December, so I put snow on the ground. Probably something she never would have thought of otherwise, and it wouldn't have mattered. Sorry, but in the context of, as you're reading a lot of, a lot of history and stuff, it's those types of things and those connections that they're just not in there for various reasons.
Yeah.
But and for whatever reason, which that would be kind of interesting to know as well. For some reason, for her, when she was building her, that was important to her that she put that in there. She didn't have to. Could have just left it out.
Would have been fine.
And you wouldn't even have the question of, well, how come there isn't snow? It wouldn't have been there. Instead, she put it in there, and that raised the question, okay, well, why is there snow on the ground? And she can explain it. She understands it. Much deeper learning. Yeah,
I was very, very happy with the way that turned out. And obviously some were better than others, but I'm finding that the more opportunities you can put in front of the kids to show they know what they're talking about, each one's going to take their own avenue to really demonstrate that opportunity there.
So exactly. I have to ask because Alpha Squirrels.
Yes.
So Squirrels LLC.
Yes, they're out of northeastern Ohio. I'm out of northwestern.
Yeah. I use them.
I love the Reflector app.
Yeah.
And the Alpha Squirrels program is, after I did a presentation last year, one of their people came up to me and said, "Hey, you'd be great as an Alpha Squirrel." I'm like, "Well, Alpha Squirrel?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, tell me more about it." So they have this program where they call us certified ed tech experts, and they help us at stuff like this. So they gave me, in my session, when I do the hands-on, I do an actual 3D print lesson with my audience where they're creating something with little pieces and straws and stuff. And out of the groups, we pick a winner. Squirrels was nice enough to give free licenses for Reflector to those winners.
Oh,
so
nice.
that's kind of the awesome support they do for the Alpha Squirrels. And it's just a great program of being able to connect with other people that are like-minded all across the country, and it's a growing program, and the folks there at Squirrels are awesome. They're a fun bunch.
Cool. That's really cool. So is this your first FETC, second FETC?
This is the first time I've traveled out of Ohio for a conference.
Really?
So getting on a
Wow.
plane was a little different.
Yeah. You had a
Yes,
good
yes,
time.
it was.
Was it a good experience? I
It
hope?
was a good experience. It was a little trippy going up in the air and looking out the window and seeing the earth go away and thinking, why do people jump out of these things? But yeah, I do a few different conferences throughout Ohio. Obviously, the Ohio Educational Technology Conference is a big one in the middle of February. I've hosted Ed Camp Ohio the past couple years.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to be doing that. We're going to change it this year. Instead of doing spring, we're going to move it to October and see how well that turns out, see if that brings us more attendees. And G-Tech Summit was new last year in Genoa. They did a phenomenal job of putting together a Ed Tech conference to prepare for the school year.
Cool.
And then the Create conference at Anthony Wayne, which is in the Toledo area up there.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I stick to Ohio
Well,
pretty
and you
well.
do a lot in Ohio. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a lot of conferences in a year. And that's just in one state. So I mean, that's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
yeah, and it's making those connections, and that's kind of what I love about coming to these things is not to take anything away from the sessions or anything like that, but I find there's a lot of learning that goes on in stuff like this, where it's just a couple people sitting around talking and
Right.
bouncing, hey, this is what I did.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's awesome. I'm going to do that.
You'd be
Like,
surprised what we learned.
I had that exact same thing happen yesterday where I was working with a principal from California, and I started talking about the Metaverse app, which is relatively new. It's a augmented reality thing, and it looks intimidating at first, but you can do some amazing things with it. I did a little thing with 4th and 5th and 6th graders where we made a game before we left for Christmas break, and I actually reached out on Twitter to the CEO, Dimitri Shapiro, and he Skyped in with the kids. I reached out to him
so
that
cool.
morning, and here we go. We have 4th graders talking to this guy that used to be with Google. He used to be a lead of engineers at MySpace and stuff, and
Well,
they just had a
and
blast.
who is the CEO of the company of the app you were just using?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that to me that's the most incredible aspect of where we are in terms of technology today, and accessibility.
Oh yeah.
Certainly when we old guys were much younger and we were in school, that there's no way we would have talked to the CEO of anything.
That was impossible.
Of course,
to think
we're old
about.
enough. CEO wasn't even a term, but we couldn't talk to the president of any company
Right.
at all. I mean, seriously, even if it was the local bank, you probably couldn't get them to come in.
Right.
And now you can Skype in with someone who is I have no idea where they're based out of, but
Out in California.
Okay, so yeah, so
Other
there you
side
go.
of the country from
the
where
other
I
side
was.
of the country. So you have that entire aspect as well that you can help with those students. Some of those students are probably not going to leave the area that where you
Right.
guys live right now, and look how long before you took your first flight out of Ohio. So how long before they take their first venture out of the state? And now
they don't
we've
have
got
to now.
you've got this president of this company from California Skyping in to meet with the students. So I did want to say something real quick. I wanted to ask. This will tell me a lot about you.
Okay.
Really. All right. So the real question is, where is your town in relation to where Geauga Lake was?
Geauga Lake, isn't that Cincinnati area? See, I
No,
don't know.
Geauga Lake was actually up.
I remember the name, but I can't remember where it
sort of
was.
in between Cleveland and Sandusky. So,
Oh, okay. Well,
but I'm sure that was way before your time.
I'm south of Sandusky.
Sure, that's way
and
before your
way
time.
west of Cleveland. Yeah, I remember the name. I never went there.
Yeah, my grandparents lived in Cleveland.
Oh,
And
awesome.
So yeah,
Great city.
Go
Tribe.
I'm a huge Indians fan. Jim Tomey.
Yes,
Hall of Fame.
congratulations
Awesome.
yesterday.
So okay, I need a suit made of money. Sorry, that just caught my eye.
Come back here.
Hey, well, what a great
But
place
anyway.
to come to for your first trip out of Ohio. That's warm,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
in
kind
the
of felt
middle of
guilty.
January.
I walked out of the hotel the other night, and it was 60 degrees. I'm like, wow, it's chilly. I'm like, whoa, I can't say that in January.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Tweet that out, man.
Anything over 40 is great. What are you talking about?
It was crazy.
Awesome.
When I left Ohio, it was 50 degrees, and it's never 50.
Oh yeah, wow, that's.
But 7 degrees last week.
So if our listeners want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Well, I have a blog, which is teacherstechtoolbox.com. That's kind of what I do on the side, just kind of, organizing the tools I find to share out with people. And Twitter, I'm very active on Twitter.
Awesome.
It's at Keven Rinaman, which is KevenRinaman. It's weird. It's 2 E's in Kevin. It's not the normal way,
unique.
but yes. So it makes it easier to remember, I guess.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right.
Hey, well, we hope the rest of FETC is great.
You've been listening to a recorded conversation from EduTech Guys live coverage of FETC 2018. For more information about EduTech Guys, visit edutechguys.com. And thanks for listening.